Hello, welcome to Hope Ready. I'm your host, Dr. Ellen. You know, it's pretty obvious that we are amidst election cycle right now. Elections are getting closer, and we're also amidst a global pandemic. And I just thought it would be a good idea to have a chat with my friend Bill Russner from CAPS about all of this. So, Bill, welcome. The election is less than 2 weeks away now. And is it just my imagination, or is this a lot more stressful than it's ever been before?
Well, I would certainly agree with that, Ellen. And thanks for having me, by the way. I appreciate the invitation. It's good to be here. Yeah, I certainly feel like it's more stressful. I'm guessing there's a lot of anecdotal information out there that if you ask other people, they would say, yeah, it's a lot more stressful. But there's also some data out there that says that. The APA, the American Psychological Association, back in September, did a survey asking people the very question, like, how stressful is this election for you? And then compared it to some previous election data to see if there's any differences. And for this election, 2/3 of the people polled, so 66 or so percent, said this is a source of significant stress for them. And that's compared with the 2016 election, where only half of the people said it was a source of significant stress. So yeah, I mean, people are stressing out about this.
I totally believe it. What do you think is making this more stressful than previous elections?
Oh, I think it's a variety of things. I think for one, the stakes are pretty high in this election, and I think hits pretty personally for a lot of people. You know, there's some really hot button issues that really affect people's lives, like social justice and equity seem to be sort of, at play here. How the country should be managing the pandemic, that affects every one of us. Women's rights, how as a country we're going to deal with climate change. So really big issues. I think more so the number of big issues is greater than in years past. And if you go back to that APA study, they broke down the numbers even more, and you can see that groups that are differentially affected by some of those issues. So they looked at African American folks, and 71% of them said the election was a source of significant stress for them. And again, given the issues going on, you can see why they would be more stressed. Individuals with chronic health conditions, 71%, right? So that's another issue that's on the table. So I think we're all affected by big issues in this one. So that's a reason why it's more stressful. Another reason I think is that, no elections are fun and polite. They're not, nice to each other. But I think this year in particular, there's a lot more negativity. There's a lot more vitriol involved. And that just makes everyone more on edge, more irritable, more angry, more scared, maybe, with some of the things they're being saying. So I think that just ups the ante as well. And then you kind of mentioned this earlier. We're also, dealing with a global pandemic.
Yeah.
So our ability to handle stress is already lower because of that. Our patience is lower. It doesn't take as much to get us upset.
Yeah.
So our reserves of energy to deal with things are lower. So I think those are some of the main reasons why people are having a harder time this year.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for spelling that out. I feel all that stress myself. So given that, what can we do to get through the next couple of weeks in the best way possible to deal with that extra stress we're carrying?
Sure. Well, actually, you had another one of our CAPS folks on a few weeks ago, Aaron Shantz, who talked about the importance of self-care.
Yeah.
And I would refer everyone back to that episode, because he really hit the important points about that. Getting enough sleep, exercise, eating healthy, just kind of taking care of yourself. And that's important anytime, but in a really high stress time, it's even more so important to do those things. So just really take care of yourself, including taking breaks if you need to, and including taking breaks from the election.
Yeah.
It is so, you don't even have to try, and you get inundated with information about the election and who said what, and what we think is going to happen. And that can be overwhelming. And depending on what you're listening to, it can be really discouraging, can be enraging. It can elicit a lot of different emotions. So I think to take that break, you have to be really intentional because
Sure.
information is everywhere, right? So maybe it means a break from devices, a break from social media. If you're going to get together with friends, maybe you kind of make a pact like, you know what, let's not talk about the election. Let's just have some fun and take a break from that. Because if that's all you're taking in, it just wears away at you.
For sure.
Yeah. Another thing is, when we feel stressed and we feel anxious, that's our body's way of telling us, hey, there's maybe a perceived threat in the environment. You should probably do something about that, right? So one way to respond to the source of stress is to do something constructive about it. And in an election, a pretty obvious thing to do would be to vote, right?
Yeah.
So exercise your right to vote. I mean, it helps you feel like, okay, I did what I could do about this. Hopefully you're an informed voter. You've done your research. You know where you stand on different issues and different candidates, and make that vote. And that should give you a sense of like, okay, I did something constructive with that.
Yeah.
If you can't vote for some reason, you can still have an impact. You can, again, inform yourself about the issues and the candidates. Talk to your friends. Let them know how you feel, your stance on things. Maybe you'll sway someone, and that can help you feel like, okay, I did something constructive with that. So let your voice be heard. That's a really good way to deal with anxiety and stress about the election. Another couple other things you can do. Another one of our counselors, Dr. Bonnie Vanderwall, just wrote the first installment of a 3-part blog series about dealing with election stress. So I refer folks to the CAPS website and to read that blog. We also hope to get out some information we've gotten from different colleges and universities about something like an election stress kit that we hope to have out maybe in a week or so.
Cool.
Just some other suggestions and tools on how to deal with the stress of this election.
Those are all awesome suggestions, Bill. Thank you so much. I think if we all take care of ourselves, take a break from devices and all that's out there, and vote, right? We can have a say in the future here. So thanks so much for joining me, and let's all continue to be hope ready.